Hey guys, you're watching PhoneArena's in-depth video comparison between the Samsung Focus and the LG Quantum. Both devices right now are available through AT&T for the contract price of only $200. The notable feature with the Samsung Focus is, of course, its large 4-inch Super AMOLED display, while on the Quantum, its notable feature includes the convenience factor with the physical keyboard. So if you're in the market right now and you're looking at AT&T's lineup, these are two devices that you want to keep an eye out. So we're just going to compare them and see what they have to offer against one another. Visually, the design of each handset couldn't have been any more different from one another. With the LG Quantum, it utilizes the landscape sliding form factor, whereas the Samsung Focus just utilizes the traditional slate look. Now, between both handsets, the more streamlined of the two is, of course, the Samsung Focus. It measures in at 0.39 inches thick versus the 0.6 inches thickness of the LG Quantum. Also, weight, you do feel it more with the Quantum, so when you hold it, it does feel more noticeable than the Focus. But we do like the choice of materials that the Quantum employs. It has that metallic back cover, which gives you a good sense of durability, and it's also complemented with the soft touch coating material all around the handset to give it that nice clean look all the time. When you compare that to the Focus, it's completely made out of plastic, glossy plastic. In fact, it does tend to smudge and also has a tendency to also scratch. Once again, there's no denying the fact that the Samsung Focus utilizes the better screen technology. Now, it has the 4-inch Super AMOLED display versus the 3.5-inch LCD panel in the Quantum. Both utilize the same resolution of 480 by 800 pixels, so that's WVGA resolution. And to tell you the truth, you're not going to notice any problems as far as reading out even the tiniest of text. It's more than legible, as you can tell, and on top of that, it's very responsive to touch. You're not going to have any problems. But the difference is the color production. With the Samsung Focus and the Super AMOLED display, it just looks like it has better looking colors, a little bit richer, deeper tones than what's offered on the Quantum. It does make the Quantum look a little bit more washed out than anything. On top of that, the viewing angles are a lot better with the Samsung Focus. Even in direct sunlight, we didn't have too much of an issue, where the LG Quantum we have shielded away from the sun. Directly beneath the touch screens are the touch-sensitive buttons. With the Samsung Focus, it utilizes 3. Luckily, we didn't have any problems as far as accidentally pressing them. And same thing applies with the Quantum. It utilizes only 2 for the back and search, while the home key, or the start button, is a physical one. Now, even though the volume rockers of both handsets might look a little bit flush to the surface, we definitely like the feel of the Focus a little bit more. It just sticks out a little bit better. On top of that, it offers a better response over the Quantum. And once again, the same thing applies with the dedicated shutter case with both handsets. You have a little bit more distinguishable one with the Focus versus the Quantum, and offers also a better responsive feel when you press down on it. Now, even though we like the placement of the dedicated power button on the Quantum, it's a little bit rather difficult to make out with the finger, whereas on the Focus, it's found on the right-hand side of the phone, but it does offer a little bit more tactile response. Furthermore, we find the placement of 3.5mm headset jacks on the top of both handsets, which is fitting, but the micro USB ports behind this latch on the Samsung Focus, it just feels a little bit more awkwardly placed on the top of the handset, while on the Quantum, it's found on the left-hand side beneath the plastic flap. Naturally, the advantage that the LG Quantum has is, of course, its physical keyboard, and like we said in our video review of it, we like the size and overall usability of the keyboard. We don't like the placement of the shift and function keys on the left-hand side there. To better illustrate the prowess of the Super AMOLED panel on the Samsung Focus, we're going to show you a couple of samples here on both devices. On the left-hand side, we have the Focus, and on the right, we have the Quantum. Now, as you can tell here a little bit, the colors are pretty nice looking on both handsets, but with the Focus, it's a little bit more vibrant and lush. Now, the advantage also that the Focus has is that it offers better viewing angles. So at various angles, the colors kind of distort a little bit with the LG Quantum, while with the Samsung Focus, it remains intact. So if you want to get a device that's visually stunning from the onset, you might want to check out the Samsung Focus. Now, both smartphones are going to offer a nearly identical Windows Phone 7 experience. They're both powered by a 1 GHz processor, so navigating about the home screen is pretty swift and fluid. Same thing applies with the listing here. It's a very responsive platform as a whole, and that's the consistent theme that we find with both handsets. Now, the home screen layout is similar just because you have the home tiles, live tiles that's displaying a bunch of different content from pictures to status updates, a bunch of different stuff. There's a little bit of personalization, such as the color theme, and you can also modify or change the placement of the tiles. Now, the only quirk that we did find with the LG Quantum is the fact that most applications are not optimized for landscape use when you open up the keyboard. But for example, the messaging one does rotate properly. But aside from that, honestly, the Windows Phone 7 experience on both handsets is pretty phenomenal. Even though the LG Quantum has the convenience of its physical keyboard, the spacious nature of the Samsung Focus just offers a really good experience, especially when typing up messages. We have the on-screen portrait one here. Naturally, it's very responsive and offers predictive text too. And on top of that, when you tilt it to landscape, they're going to offer a lot more room, especially with the Focus. So even without a keyboard, it's still more than usable than anything else. Aside from the core apps that are packaged together with the platform, such as the calculator, the calendar, and even stuff like the Microsoft Office, there are some specific ones with both handsets. With the Focus, it comes with the Now application, or the Now Hub, or the Samsung Hub, which essentially gives you pertinent information from weather, the news, and even stocks directly within it. While the LG Quantum, it has the application Play To right out of the box. It essentially is a DLNA application, so you could share a variety of different content to other devices. And on top of that, if you go to the marketplace for both handsets, they have a specific area for their own markets. You have one for the LG App Store with the LG Quantum, while on the Focus they have the Samsung Zone, and these are basically applications that are exclusive to these devices. Screen size is actually the only difference between the web browsing experience on both handsets. With the Focus, you just get a little bit more real estate, so you get to see a little bit more, but it doesn't change the fact that the performance is equal to one another. As you can tell, scrolling is very smooth and fluid. You could double tap to a specific area to zoom in. You could even continue to zoom in with multi-touch gesture support, and overall, the web browsing experience is pretty good on both devices. The Zoom experience is in full effect with both handsets, so it does offer a high level of presentation when you're playing a song. As you can tell, the background is the picture of the artist that you're playing. Just choosing your songs, you could also look up specific bios about the artist that you're playing, and breaks it down to albums and songs, so you'll know easily what you're playing. As far as audio quality with the speakers, the Samsung Focus does a better job, just because the LG Quantum has a tendency to crackle or sound a little bit distorted, especially at the lattice volume setting. High definition and video playback is not going to be any problem with either handsets. We have one here encoded in DivX 1280 by 720 resolution. As you can tell, it's running very smooth, no evidence of any lag or any slowdown. But the larger screen of the Samsung Focus is just a little bit more conducive in this category. Both handsets boast 5-megapixel autofocus camera, but as far as overall quality, we have to give it to the Samsung Focus just a little bit, just because it manages to edge out the Quantum. At the top are samples from the Quantum, at the bottom the Focus. In this image here, which we're going to show you the color production between both handsets. With the Focus, it does a little bit better job as far as producing vibrant, more rich-looking colors. You can tell from the other colors here of the cars. So if you want something that's going to have nice-looking colors, you definitely want to stick with the Focus. The details are there in both handsets. They do offer a good amount of production and detail when you're taking a shot, so you're not going to notice too much of a difference. Some other shots here, just going to show you again. Color production with the red. Again, another one for color production, a scenery shot. As far as indoor quality, we also have to hand it to the Samsung Focus, especially with its LED flash. It's able to better illuminate the shots, where the Quantum does a poor job, in fact. As far as video recording goes, they both offer pretty much the same results. So top again, the one with the Quantum, the bottom here with the Focus. Now the Focus shoots it at 23 frames per second, while the Quantum does it at 23 frames per second. Where overall, it's pretty decent on both handsets. Not the greatest, but they're more than acceptable. With the Quantum, the only thing that we have to deal with is its sensitivity to changing the white balance, especially when you go through various lighting conditions. It's just a little bit more adverse versus the Focus. When you do it in low lighting conditions, they don't produce the best shots, but still, it should be more than tolerable for anyone out there. Color quality seems to be a little bit more bearable with the Samsung Focus versus the LG Quantum. With the Focus, its earpiece is able to produce some strong tones to make it very audible, but there is a little bit of hissiness towards voices at the end of sentences. And our callers did say our voice did sound a little bit mute on their end with the Focus, where on the Quantum, it does produce a little bit of a static noise through the earpiece on our end, and it does kind of muddy down the conversation, but luckily our callers didn't have any problems on their end of the line. When we switched to using the speakerphones on both handsets, the Quantum does have a tendency to crackle and does distort voices, making it a little bit more muffled than anything else. While on the Focus, it's a little bit more acceptable. Granted, though, it does kind of sound strained a little bit, but still more than distinguishable in making out conversations. Yet another thing that we like about the Samsung Focus is that it offers better battery life versus the Quantum, especially for normal to heavy users. You'll definitely appreciate its level of output versus the Quantum. Quantum's more normal than anything else. Light users should be able to get 1 day's use, but heavy users and normal users will have to constantly charge it all around. Thanks to its Super AMOLED display, it does contribute to lower power consumption, and overall you'll be surprised with the level of battery life you're going to get out of the Focus. So if you happen to have $200 to shell out and you're looking for a Windows Phone 7 device, I'd probably recommend the Samsung Focus over the LG Quantum. Naturally, the biggest draw is, of course, its gorgeous 4-inch Super AMOLED display. It does provide that wow factor, especially when you use it for the very first time. With the Quantum, granted, it does offer the convenience of the physical keyboard, the on-screen keyboard of the Windows Phone 7 platform, combined with the well-sized real estate of the Focus, does offer a great experience that really makes it very easy to type messages, even better than using a physical keyboard. On top of that, some of the other draws that the Focus has to offer is that it produces a little bit better pictures. The battery life is phenomenal too, and on top of that, it does offer a little bit better calling quality, and it's just very well-rounded all around versus what's offered on the Quantum, especially when both are priced at $200. So if you'd like to learn more about the Samsung Focus or the LG Quantum, or for all the latest cell phone reviews, news, specs, and information, you can check us out at PhoneArena.com.